What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Net Nobody 2 channel, and also welcome to the new thing we're trying to do. Is Wrestle Theorist. Wrestle Theorist is pretty much where I give my theories about the wrestling and so on, title belts and everything. So this is pretty much. I just want to give a huge shout out for Matt Pat for inspiring me. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Wrestle Theorist, a show where I go over a bunch of wrestling facts, a bunch of wrestling promos, a bunch of everything. From WWE, from Friday Night SmackDown to Monday Night Raw, NXT, AEW, maybe MMA. But ladies and gentlemen, so our first theory we have is CM Punk versus AEW, who was in the wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, so you might think, what was the reason why CM Punk left the WWE in the first place? It was because he wasn't pushed in the WWE to get a WrestleMania main event, couldn't win the Rumble, backstage politics. I have my explanations also. I have my explanations also, but at the same time, there's a lot of factors. But hey, we're not here. We're just here to give theories. So, ladies and gentlemen, so CM Punk. So your favorite wrestler probably is you probably have a lot of favorite wrestlers. The viewer, me, the viewer, like the theorist, the YouTuber. So you probably have a bunch of favorite wrestlers as John Cena, Rock, Brock Lesnar, Chris Jericho, The Miz, Seth Rollins, bunch. But there is one wrestler, one problem we're gonna go through, one situation we're gonna go through, and that's CM Punk versus AEW, who's in the wrong. So let's get to it. So you guys remember when Phil Brooks left the WWE? Everybody was shocked. Everybody was confused on why, and I went already through their whys. But ladies and gentlemen, he went to the UFC, had a absolutely horrible showing. So horrible showing. I think he lost 2 straight fights in his UFC career, but then all of a sudden, a bunch of news columns decided to come out, and they were pretty much saying, oh yes, Phil Brooks, also known as CM Punk. So Phil Brooks showed up on a very interesting show called WWE Backstage. And WWE Backstage, everybody thought CM Punk was back in WWE, but also notice that CM Punk was never actually signed to WWE when he did the WWE Backstage, which was canceled before that issue that happened in 2019. I don't want to get demonetized. So, ladies and gentlemen, and then after that, a bunch of wrestling news outlets decided to come out. They were saying, "Oh yeah, this, oh yeah that, oh yeah," and then there was a wrestling company that showed up out of nowhere. Who's the rival? Who's the number 2 rival to the WWE? And that's All Elite Wrestling, ran by Tony Khan, Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, Kenny Omega, and also the ex-AEW wrestler Cody Rhodes. And that was All Elite Wrestling. When it started, they had Sammy Guevara, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Darby Allin, a bunch more. I couldn't even name on top of Miro. A bunch of other wrestlers I couldn't even name on top of my head. They even had one of the best barbed wire matches when there was Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. And then all of a sudden we were hearing that the AEW was doing a Rampage episode in Chicago in 2021. And everybody was saying for sure Punk is gonna show up. For sure Punk is gonna show up to AEW. For sure. And then everybody was saying that he started putting things on Instagram that he was gonna show up to AEW. And then I had my doubts because CM Punk is my favorite wrestler. Yes, I'm a mark, but it doesn't matter. But I genuinely feel that, and I had my doubts. I had my and I since I was in high school, I thought he was gonna come back to WWE. But and then all of a sudden he was getting rumored that he was gonna show up to All Elite Wrestling on that specific episode. So then all of a sudden he decided on that 10 p.m. slot on I think TBS or TNT, I don't even remember. But then all of a sudden people were chanting CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk, and then all of a sudden his theme song hit. Me as a wrestling fan, I was over the moon. Finally, we're gonna see CM Punk in a wrestling ring. Then after that he did challenge Darby Allin to a wrestling match to one of the pay-per-views coming up. Beat Darby Allin. I went on an 11 match win streak, I think. But then after that, he decided to go undefeated. Pretty much challenge anybody who wanted it. Feud after feud after feud. And then after that, he had a really good feud against Maxwell Jacob Friedman. So then all of a sudden, I think it was Moxley versus Punk 2, where pretty much he was pretty much saying, oh yeah, he wanted to fight. So then he beat CM Punk. He beat Moxley in Brawl In. So in Brawl Out. So then all of a sudden, Phil Brooks from this part of the video. From this part of the video, I'm gonna refer to CM Punk as Phil Brooks. You'll get why. So then all of a sudden, Phil decided to go into business for himself, which is fine, right? He wants to get what he wants. But then after that, Phil Brooks was going off on AEW and the media scrum to the point that he pretty much wanted to take over the company himself. And he lost the AEW title like a week after to Moxley in a jobbing effort. It might have been a jobbing effort. But then he came back, beat Moxley. No, and then after that he beat Moxley. He went on a hiatus for some odd reason. I don't know. For doing like the same fight. And he was injured. But we all know he was suspended. So then all of a sudden he came back on another AEW show called AEW Saturday Night Collision, and a lot of rumors were saying that Phil Brooks was gonna take over Collision with some other wrestlers like Miro, Christopher Daniels, Thunder Rosa, like having like a new rebranded show, like an NXT 2.0. So, ladies and gentlemen, and then after that, CM Punk decided to come back, throw shots at everybody, right? He decided to throw shots at the Young Bucks, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, everybody. And then he decided to become the real world champion because nobody pinned him. And then he had like okay match. I'm not gonna lie, he had okay matches in Collision. Showed up to Dynamite a few times, and then after that showed up to Rampage. And then I'm not gonna lie, he pretty much was like, in my opinion, the best feud he had was either between the best feud, some might say it was against Ricky Starks and Maxwell Jacob Friedman. But I digress. But anyway, after that, they pretty much were like wrestling and stuff. And then I think it was like a pay-per-view called AEW All Out in Wembley. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure that was his last match he wrestled against Samoa Joe for the AEW Real World title, his belt. Punk beat Samoa Joe in one of the best matches I've ever seen, and pretty much his last one. So before that match even happened, Jack Perry, I know his name is Jungle Boy, but his real name is Jack Perry. Him and Phil had a had a what's that thing called? Had an altercation because apparently Jack Perry wanted to throw a hook an FTW champion through real glass, fake glass, and Punk was like, no, you can't throw him through real glass. And then all of a sudden, Jack Perry told Phil Brooks to his face, saying, "Cry me a river," right? And then after that match, they had a brawl. Punk literally had the title in his hand. It went like this. And then after that, that caused for Tony Khan, Jack Perry, CM Punk to get suspended. I don't know where Jack Perry is, and he hasn't been seen in AEW. So then all of a sudden, AEW decided to have a show in Chicago again, where Tony Khan came out and announced that he fired CM Punk with a bunch of boos, everything, because that was their guy. So Jack Perry got suspended. So if you ask me, AEW handled it very professionally on both sides. Phil Brooks left on his own accord. AEW handled it like they should handle it, with a bunch of professionalism. They did the same thing with Sammy Guevara. Sammy's injured. Tommy's suspended. So yeah, I think it was a good idea for CM Punk to leave Phil Brooks to leave AEW. AEW doing their own thing now. So yeah, that's pretty much how I think. But hey, that's just a theory. A wrestle theory. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.